It's my pleasure to nominate Councillor Nigel Gawthrope to be Mayor of Cambridge for the municipal year 2018 to 19. He's wanted to be Mayor for some time now, and in order to prevent him moving to Scotland, we decided this was his year. Mr Mayor, Councillor Gawthrope, Nigel to many, and Gus to many more, was, if I may say so, born in Yorkshire, but made in Cambridge. There are some things that can be taught and some things that can be learned. Yet despite some nearly 58 years living in Cambridge and only 3 in Leeds, Nigel has retained the stereotypical Yorkshire ability to be careful with his money. This suggests to me, Mr Mayor, it's probably genetic. Now, Nigel grew up with his mother, Sheila, his father, Tom, younger brother, Nick, and younger sister, or baby sister as I heard him say earlier, Amanda, in Campkin Road, in what was called North Arbury, now better known as King's Hedges. He attended Grove Primary School, and on passing his 11 plus, he went to the Cambridge Grammar School for Boys, because in those days, girls and boys were educated separately. After taking his O-levels, Nigel went to work at the Cambridge University Press as an apprentice bookbinder, eventually qualifying with City and Guilds, and he worked at the press for just under 40 years. During that time, Nigel became a member of the Society of Graphical and Allied Trades Union, known as SOGAT, and it was there, and I know Nigel will agree, his real education took place, becoming the father of the chapel, the FOC, or the shop floor representative, and attending a variety of training courses on negotiations with management and how to represent people at work, which Nigel did locally, regionally, nationally, and a couple of times internationally for nearly 40 years. If you ask Nigel about his meeting with Evo Morales, President of Bolivia, when attending a conference there as a SOGAT delegate, and even if you don't ask him, he'll tell you about him anyway. And I'm sure, Mr Mayor, Senor Morales was as impressed by Nigel as Nigel was by Senor Morales. Now, Nigel and I have lived parallel lives, minus the Yorkshire bit, obviously. We both went to Cambridge, school in Cambridge, that is if we'll allow Impington Village College to qualify. We both entered the print trade, although I was in the messy end, putting the ink on the paper. And we were both educated by unions. Mine in those days was the National Graphical Association, the NGA. And as I've said, we both served locally, regionally, nationally and internationally. I didn't meet any presidents, but I did meet John Prescott in his prime. In 1991, SOGAT and the NGA amalgamated to form the Graphical Paper and Media Union, the GPMU. And that eventually came down to a local level, where our local branch is called the Anglia branch. And I, along with Nigel, served on that branch committee for more years than I'm sure either of us care to remember. I recall Nigel coming to the meetings that were held in Newmarket on a motorbike, the only member of the committee to do so. I'm sure Nigel could tell you exactly what make and model too, but for me it was just a motorbike. Now he's recently purchased the Harley Davidson, which I understand is something of an iconic motorcycle. At first this was part of a midlife crisis, but quickly remembered his age and decided it couldn't be that tall, so I can't define it. Now I know he's currently studying part-time for a degree in economics for the Open University. Perhaps he could be destined to be the next Labour Chancellor of the Exchequer. After all, given the almighty mess the current and previous Chancellor have made of the nation's economy by people with no qualifications in economics, he could be a breath of fresh air. In 2011, Nigel approached me to ask if he could help with my election campaign in King's Hedges, which I, of course, was more than happy with. It's always helpful to have someone on your team when you're knocking on doors, and residents recognise young Gawthrope and are prepared to support the candidate as a result. And the following year, Nigel was selected as a candidate for King's Hedges, and he was elected to the council, where he has been successfully re-elected and served on many committees, some as chair, some as Vice Chair and others as a member. I know what has been demonstrated over all of Nigel's adult life is that he has represented many people and continues to do so. He will prove to be the ideal person to serve the city as Mayor, which is why I now, Mr Mayor, seek the support of the members of the Council to elect Councillor Gawthrope as the next Mayor of Cambridge. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councillor for your eloquent speech. Can we have a second, please? Councillor Dale.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to second this nomination for my neighbourhood wards councillor. As noted by my colleague, Councillor Gawthrope, somebody was from first move into King Tedges, and he was recognised widely across our community. One of my neighbours was only regaling me about stories of him on the cricket pitch on the weekend. I know it will bring immense pride to his family and to his community to see Councillor Gawthrope elected as Mayor, and I believe it's that deep-rooted connection that will ensure he will make this council proud over the coming year. The local board is very good, and I commend his election as our Mayor.
Thank you so much, Councillor Dale. Are there any more nominations? I declare Councillor Gawthrope Mayor of the City of Cambridge for the ensuing municipal year. Can I see those in support of that? That's unanimous. Thank you so much. Can I please ask for councillors and guests and members to remain in their seats while the roll call is taking place?